Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Let's continue with the Chanti instructions from Master YongHua.
客人都要注意一点。现在呀，你们要练习做。等第9个礼拜的时候，咱们人人都要参加这个禅期。
Everybody should pay attention. Now you should practice sitting. On the 9th week, everybody should attend this chanqi.
不可以做其他的事情，把其他的事情都放下。哪一个人呢，要是不会做，就要打了。
You are not allowed to do other things. Let go all other things. Anybody doesn't know how to sit will be beaten up.
Okay, so this is the Chinese style, the traditional style of the Chanqi, where you expected to sit, and you didn't, you would be beaten up. We don't do that anymore, and I don't happen to agree with that. All we ask of you when you go to our Chanqi is to give your best, try your best. And we understand that your time is invaluable for you to take the time to come to us. It's a lot of personal sacrifice, therefore we're pretty sure that you want to maximize your time here. You're not here to slack off, so there's no need to do that. To be so strict about this. In particular, there are people, again, who are not used to this kind of regime, so they can go so far, especially people who can't sit for very long, can't concentrate very long. And then it's okay too, try your best. And the other thing you can do, the learning of the Chanqi here, we feel that there's other things that you can learn as well, besides sitting and so forth. For example, so that's why we don't even enforce the rule where in the chan, in the dining hall, people don't talk. We'd rather you talk to each other and get more information and learn. Okay? So this is Chinese style. It's okay. It's good to know it. Eventually, there will be the time and the place for people to do that. But I'm advocating mixed, meaning that the temple should be big enough for you to be able to do this full time and be strict on yourself. Or if not, you can hang out and learn other things as well. Next.
是一个人不用功也要打。那时候是龙要盘起来，你就是一条龙，要盘到一起。
Anybody doesn't apply effort will be beaten up as well. At that time, dragons should all curl up. Even if you are a dragon, you need to curl up.
是虎要卧起来，你就是个老虎，也要趴那个。生死直接度万，就是死了也不管。
Tigers should crouch. Even if you are a tiger, you need to crouch there. Put aside life and death. That is to not worry about death.
All right, go forest. Was there something from go forest? No? Okay, so he's referring to how dragons coil up and the tigers would crouch. So those are the ready positions for them to spring so that they can attack you. So that means that they're ready for anything, ready for battle. They're fighting. They are facing life and death issues. And therefore, that's the same kind of mindset when you go and practice Chan as well. That you should keep, meaning that every time that you are able to do the Chan Chi and participate in Chan Chi, have the right proper frame of mind. It's a matter of life and death, practically. So that is the base of the mindset. Okay, fight for it. It is a very serious matter. It's a matter of life and death. Really, it's your life and death. And if you have the right kind of frame of mind, you can get a lot more out of it. You will be able to improve. That's the bottom line. Okay? All right, continue.
所以人最大的问题就是死也不能离开禅堂。
The biggest problem of human is death. Even if you die, you cannot leave the Chan hall.
Okay, so this is Buddhist wisdom. Everyone in the world, they do everything else but think about death, unless they must. Whereas for us Buddhists, the wisdom from the Buddha that our world-honored one taught us is that there's a big issue called death. This is, unless you are prepared for death, unless you recognize death as a big issue in your life, you will not be able to put an end to your suffering. As long as the people in the world ignore death, they will add to their suffering. How's that? For unconventional wisdom, unconventional thinking. People in the world, they worry about everything else but death. That's why every single day they add more to their suffering, and therefore they sink further and further into this unceasing wheel of reincarnation. It gets more difficult for them to get out because every time that they have a new body, they create new habits that will bring them, that will bond them even stronger, more fiercely to the wheel of reincarnation. They'll have to come back to these 6 realms in order to continue to suffer. Because if you ignore this issue called death, you're creating, because you're creating karma for you to cling on to life in this world. And that's why you will suffer. You will add to your suffering now and in the future. So that's why during Chan Chi, you should not be afraid to apply yourself and forget about your fear of death. The worldly people are afraid of death because they know nothing about it. No one knows anything about death except what they read from the spiritual side, the spiritual practitioners who really, outside of the Buddha, they really don't know what they're talking about. The yogis, the Taoists, they only have, or the Catholics, they only have a glimpse of what really happens after death. And all their knowledge will not help them transcend the wheel of reincarnation. Okay, and that is worth emphasizing. And that's why in the Chan Chi and Chan Hall is where we are applying efforts to face and learn more about this death issue here and to confront it and to figure out how to get on top of it. Next.
性命交给龙天，你的这个生命啊，交给天龙八部。
Put your life in the hands of dragons in heaven. Put your life in the hands of dragons and heavens of the Eightfold Division.
And there you go right there. In the Chan Hall, we here able to practice Chan is because we have the Eightfold Divisions protecting us. That's a critical point here. You practice at home, you will not be able to have that. And that's why we put so much efforts into organizing a Chan Chi and so forth, the Qis, in order to give you the proper protection. This is not spoken enough. And because without protection, you cannot get very far. Okay? Protection matters. Okay? Yes, go for us.
Is the Eightfold Division?
The Eightfold Divisions are the 8 types of spiritual beings who made the vows to come and protect the cultivators of the Triple Jewel. That includes all of us. They're here to protect the Sangha as well as the lay people. As long as you cultivate the spiritual path, cultivate Mahayana practices, you will receive protection for the Eightfold Divisions. What are these Eightfold Divisions? Because there are 8 different types of spiritual beings who are very, very powerful, and they are there to give you protection, meaning that they are stronger than the people who practice here. Okay, so typically what happens to these Eightfold Divisions, the 8 different types of spiritual beings, namely, they are like, what are the Eightfold Divisions? Specifically, number 1, gods. Okay, the gods who made the vows to come and protect us when we practice Mahayana. For example, even the Christian God, who they call God and Allah and Jade Emperor and so forth, actually is a Dharma protector. They love the Mahayana practices, and therefore they brought forth the resolve to come and protect us. Many gods, beings actually are bodhisattvas, and therefore they would come and protect us. There are also dragons. You just heard about dragons here. Dragons are another spiritual being. They are like snakes. They are in a family of snakes, but except that the dragons have spiritual powers. They can manifest themselves as tiny. They can manifest themselves as big, as humongous, and they are fierce. They have spiritual penetrations. And for example, when Shakmina Buddha was meditating under the Bodhi tree, the dragon came around and protecting him. Okay, and there are other beings such as Kinaras, Maharogaras, which is a big python, also very, very powerful spiritual penetrations. They are, what are the Eightfold? Someone remind me. Moragas, the pungbird, which are the arch enemies of the dragons. They also feed on the dragons for their diet. They keep the dragon populations in check. And they are Mahasattvas, pungbirds, and the golden winged pungbirds are keeping the dragon's population under control, I guess. And so you have 3, 4 already. You have, what else do we have? The 8 of them. Yes, sir. 1.
Thank you, Master. I'm so excited to see Great Master YongHua mention the Eightfold Division. There's the Kumbanda ghosts, the barrel-shaped ghosts.
Are they Dharma Protectors? I don't think so.
No, they're in the Eightfold Division. They're like the weird ones that are mean and nasty. But
are they really Eightfold Division? Someone remind me. I've been a while. Huh? Kumbanda ghosts? Okay, look it up. What is... Okay, Kumbanda, yeah, the melon ghosts, yes. I thought they always come and harass me at night, that's all.
There's the... I don't know if they're considered gods. I think they are. There's the celestial kings.
Yeah, those are the gods, yes. Heavenly beings, yes.
And I just want to make sure I put a plug in for anyone watching in our YouTube audience right now or another way place. The Avatamsaka Sutra Dharma talks are like amazing. It is, from a Western film nerd perspective, some of the most intriguing and deep lore of Buddhism that I've ever encountered. And it was the motivation for our first Sutra Glimpse videos to accompany Dharma Glimpse. You can learn about dragons. You can learn about Garudas, which are also the pung birds. It's on the flag of Indonesia, which is fascinating. It is just, to me, it's one of the most exciting and just incredible Sutra and Dharma Talk series you've produced so far, Master. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the plug. I also is one of the rare first times where it's explained in English in great details. Before it's explained in English, but very, very in a fairly shallow fashion. Okay, now we go into the kind of details that far transcends the typical lectures because of your levels. Who else, huh? Hey, Shorty, what else is there available in Eightfold Divisions? Good time to refresh my memory.
I only know in Korean, sorry.
Okay, say it in Korean.
천용 야차 건달바 아수라 가루라 긴나라 마오라가.
Okay, yakshas,
야차.
yaksha ghosts. Okay, those are the speedy ghosts. They also are apparently bodhisattvas manifesting as speedy ghosts. The reason they're Dharma protectors because they actually are bodhisattvas. In Mahayana, we have plenty of talent. On contrary, what you think? You come to our temple thinking, hey, Mahayana is no one practicing Mahayana. No, there are plenty of people practicing Mahayana, and you just can't see them. That's all. And it's because these Mahasattvas, Bodhisattvas that we're able to practice in peace. So there are the speedy ghosts, the yakshas ghosts. Yes, the pisachas, who are stinky ghosts. Yes, the winter melon, the melon ghosts, kumbandas. Okay. So those are the ghost divisions. The kinaras. Okay. That's another type of spirit, musical spirit. And there's another one that also the Jade Emperor uses when he lights the incense. Kinara is musical. The other one is more like incense, inhaling. The Korean, tell me the Korean. The Korean's really, pretty close to Vietnamese. Mahoragas, okay, and that's a pythons. What else?
And Karura, Asura.
Garuda, oh, Asuras. Asuras are also Dharma Protectors. Asuras are the non-gods. They have the blessings of the gods, meaning they have the same exact retributions. I mean, all the heavenly pleasures they can experience, but they don't have the virtue of the gods. That's why they're not allowed to live in the heavens. They have to live lower. Okay, virtues matters. Okay, non-virtuous beings like asuras are not allowed to stay up there, even though they feel they're entitled to go up there, but they don't have the virtues to stay up there. It's not for them. Yes, in the back was there. Oh, the back is using his hand like Italians. Okay, so you have those spirits who are also Dharma protectors as well. Okay, so that's form basically the 8 different kinds of spiritual beings who are actually bodhisattvas. Let me tell you something about the Eightfold Division. Okay, they made the vows. They're actually bodhisattvas who made the vows to for their spiritual practices. They made the vows that they will come and protect the cultivators of the way. Meaning that anyone who cultivates the way will receive their protection. Okay, so what's the difference? The difference is that what kind of protection level do you need? Okay, and that's why the protection varies from temple to temples. Meaning that if you go to a low-level temple, the protection is not as strong unless you bring your own protection there. For example, our people, when they go to places to cultivate, they bring their own protection because basically they need that kind of protection in order to meditate, in order to recite the Buddha's name. So, like the old monk here, when he goes to Thailand, he brought his own Dharma protectors, his dragons and his Mahoragas and his Kinaras and so forth. And that's how it is. They protect not only the way places, but if you practice, then they will come and protect you. That's how it works. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. I don't remember it coming up during the sutra, the Dharma talks about the Avatamsaka Sutra. Are the two Dharma protectors who were featured in the statues behind you, are they a part of the Eightfold Division as well?
No, they're not. They happen to be specialists in protecting the way places only. Okay, they don't protect cultivators. For example, if you cultivate in the mountains or valleys, the Dharma protectors will come to you. The Eightfold Division will come and protect you as well. Okay, we need their protection. And that's why the network of cultivation in Mahayana is a lot more extensive than people realize. We have people everywhere. And we are the good guys. So don't think that the demons and so forth are really rampant. Those are the troublemakers that affect you. But for us, we have our own world where we we have follow our own rules, our own protection, our own hierarchy. Okay, and so the two Dharma Protectors, Weito Bodhisattva and Guangong Bodhisattvas, they actually made the vows to come and protect the way places. Way places also need protection 24 hours a day. The Eightfold Divisions are the one that will come and protect you personally. The people who cultivate will receive their protection. Whereas the Weito and the Guangong behind me, those statues, those are representatives who will protect all way places all over the world. See, we have different layers of protection. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. So how do I protect myself when I'm away from temple during Chanchi?
When you're away from a temple in Chanchi, you have a lot of protection yourself as well. For example, you receive transmission for the hands and eyes. The hands and eyes have their own set of Dharma Protectors, meaning that without such protection, you cannot succeed in your practice. You have very little chance to succeed in, and this is why the hands and eyes need to be transmitted. Without the transmission, you will not get protection. Forget it. So that's why the disciples of Master YongHua who felt compelled to transmit them after they left their association, they are doing it wrong because those practitioners need protection. There's no way they can go far without the protection. And that's a typical of our spiritual practices. Without the protection, we cannot get very far. In particular, the hands and eyes are so specialized and they're so dangerous to the ghosts and the demons that the practitioners are actually prime targets for them. They will come and do things to stop you from your practice. Very much like during a Chanchi, people who go to Chanchi have very strong chances of getting enlightened, making progress. That's why during that time, during the Chanchi, we have tremendous obstructions, personal obstructions ourselves, all of us. Okay, a lot more intense than under normal circumstances. For you, when you practice at home, depends on the kinds of practice you have. If you practice meditation, then your protection is not the same as you practice tantras. Because when we transmit that tantras to you, we assign Dharma Protectors for you. And as your level increases, you improve, the Dharma Protector will get stronger for you. You know, it's how it works. It's very much like a president. Before he goes to a place, he has to send the bodyguards and the security people to clear out the area first before it's safe for him to go there. Same thing for us. These Dharma Protectors are very, very powerful. They're necessary for us. If it weren't the case, we will not be able to make it. Okay, so that's important. For example, when you go to a temple, let's say Hinayana temple, you have the Dharma Protector that will be strong enough to help you bring the Hinayana levels of samadhis. That's necessary. Whereas you go to Mahayana temple, depending on the people there, okay? So that's why it's very useful for you to come to a place where people are much better than you. So you lean on the protection of these people. Like wherever the president goes, if you tag along with him, we are a lot safer than we're on our own. Okay? Yes, in the back.
Master, is it better to follow you wherever you go during the Chanchi?
It's better to go with me, but my car has limited space. Okay, now you all know I will take bits for the people who want to follow me. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. We have a YouTube question. And first, I would like to express my gratitude for our YouTube audience joining us from wherever they are in the Saha world. We have over 50 people, I believe, across our 3 YouTube channels currently watching. From Cordelia Lee, does the Eightfold Division protect us from an accident? I almost got hit 2 times today. Or is that the Medicine Master Buddha blessings? Emitofuo.
The Eightfold Division protection is for only when you practice your spiritual practices, because when you practice, the bad side will do things to prevent you from making progress, will inhibit your spiritual practices. That's why you need the protection. Okay? But as far as traffic protection and so forth, those are the medicine master blessings and so forth. Okay, they're different kinds. This is why Mahayana is so pervasive. We have all sorts of good things that happen, and we don't talk about it. Yeah? Whereas the bad side, they don't talk about fentanyl, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, gambling, and all those things, smoking and all those things, vapes and so forth. But actually for us, our protection, our benefits really are incredible, are so pervasive, because we have all sorts of spiritual practices, and there are all kinds of spiritual beings who are dedicated to protect us for those practices. Why? Because they are the one who accomplished those practices. That's why they said, wow, I'm going to repay by helping the people below me. And that's the ethos of Mahayana practitioners. Once they receive great benefits from it, they will bring forth a mind to benefit those the people behind them, the future generations. This is what we do. Okay, so for you, going back to your question, you have to find your own protection, depending on the personal practices. For chant practices, you have certain mantras that you can recite to seal yourself and so forth. We don't teach those things because it doesn't matter, because we transmit to you the hands and eyes already. So the protection there is very, very strong, very constant. So, for example, we encourage you, even during a chanchi or the fochi, to still recite the hands and eyes every day. Okay, and that's your protection right there. Okay. So you do have a lot of protection, a lot more than you realize. Okay, anyone else? Yes, 3.
Di Đà Phật, con cái này là cái kinh nghiệm con cách đây khoảng vài năm. Con nghe nói có một vị sư Thái Lan mà ngồi thiền rồi rắn nó tới nó bảo vệ. Thì may mắn là sau đó con gặp tận mặt, con gặp Ngài qua Việt Nam mà ban phước cho mấy người khác. Từ 8 giờ sáng cho đến 8 giờ đêm mà người ta cứ tới liên tục thì để cho Ngài làm phép cho họ an ổn gì đó. Nhưng mà con gặp thì con nói bây giờ tôi muốn tận mặt ông kể với tôi nghe cái chuyện đó có hay không. Thì ông ok, ông mới sau đó ông thích con lắm, ông mời con đi Đà Lạt để chơi mà con không có đi. Thì ông kể là ông đang ngồi thiền. Thì hồi sau ông ngủ gục, ông nghe cái đầu mát mát mà mềm nó chừng ông giật mình ra thì ra là con rắn rất là lớn nó nằm trước đầu ông, trước mặt. mà nó to như cái xô xách nước của mình, nó trắng như kem đánh răng á. Ông nói bây giờ, ông lúc đó ông sợ, ông nói bây giờ chạy cũng chết. Thì bây giờ ông ngồi thẳng lên, tiếp tục ông thiền. Thì sáng hôm sau đó, một cái con như vậy nhỏ hơn, cũng vậy, cũng cùng màu trắng mà nhỏ hơn. Ông nghĩ chắc là con cái á, và một con bằng cái bình uống nước của mình á. Thì ba vị đó là ở với ổng suốt trong thiền thất rồi ông mới đi. Thì con nghĩ cái rắn đó thuộc loại như ma loa già đó, tới hộ cái người thiền đó. Thì ông nói là lúc ban đầu thì cũng sợ, sao không biết là người ta tới nó không có làm hại mình thì là yên luôn. Rồi thứ hai đó là cái kỳ rồi con vô cái thất của ông Ajahn Sambray đó, con ngồi một mình ở trên gác, trên cái chỗ thờ tổ, thờ xá lợi của ổng đó. Thì từ 9:30 đêm cho đến 3:30 sáng, con tụng 108 biến chú Đại Bi và 42 thủ nhãn của mình. Rất là hoan hỷ, và đúng 12 giờ đêm là một con gà rừng nó gáy trước. Thì đồng loạt cả gà rừng nó gáy theo. Rất là hoan hỷ với mình, và ngồi ăn ổn, không tê không nhức cho đến 3:30 sáng luôn. Thì con nghĩ là mình tụng chú Đại Bi với lại cái pháp thiền của mình cộng với cái thủ nhãn nữa thì chắc chắn sẽ được bảo vệ. Trong đó chắc chắn là có Bồ Tát Quan Thế Âm rồi này nó.
Emitofuo, Master, this is my experience several years ago. I've heard that there was one Thai monk sitting in meditation and receive a protection. So I have the blessing to be able to see the man came to Vietnam, and I personally see him face to face, and I wanted him to recounter the story to me, whether it is real or not. So he told me that he was meditating and he fell asleep, and he felt that his head, some kind of cool touching his hands, and he opened his eyes to see actually there was a very big snake. It's big like the thickness is big as a bucket, and it's so white as the toothpaste. So he was so scared, he could not move. He could not run away, so he sat there for the entire day until the next morning. So the next day, the two other snakes, smaller, and I thought it was the snake's wife and the son or the children came back. So 3 snakes stayed together in the whole entire chanty that he practiced. So I've heard of that, and I thought it was Mahaulaya, come to protect the chant practitioner. So at first he was scared, but he get used to it. And second, I was sitting in the room of Pra Ajahn Sambray. So I sat there from 9:30 till the morning. And during that time, I recite 108 recitation of Great Compassion Mantra and 42 hands and eyes. So around 2 o'clock, I've heard one rooster roar, and then the whole entire thing actually makes sounds as well. So I thought it is the protection of come from recitation of Great Compassion Mantra and 42 hands and eyes. And I think as well as Quan Shi Yin Bodhisattva come in protection also.
You figure out why the rooster will cockatoo so early? Just good timing from the spy. She can go bring it back and report it to her masters. Why do you think the cockatoo?
Theo cái người Việt Nam á, là với người Tàu đó, là cái giờ giữa 12 giờ sáng, tức là giữa cái âm cái dương, cái âm của cái giờ hôm trước và 12 giờ 1 phút là nó cái dương của ngày hôm sau. Thì cái giờ đó là cái atmosphere rất là linh thiêng, rất là trong sạch. Thì những con gà nào mà nó gáy cái giờ đó người ta gọi là linh kê. nó rất là tốt cho cái không khí, những cái đất đai xung quanh cái vùng ảnh hưởng cái tiếng gái của nó. Nên cái người Việt Nam nào biết á, khi mà gài gái như vậy trong nhà, trong vườn họ hoặc là trong hàng xóm đó, thì họ rất là mừng. Họ gọi cái đó là con linh kê.
It usually means the two possible scenarios. Number one, the rooster's cockatoo is because of the light, right? They see the sunlight. It's about to get light. Not the light is, they can see the light. Or they can sense the yang qi that's at the proper level around 5 or 6 in the morning and so forth, that level, that around that time the yang qi has been accumulating, so that's how they could tell. And they say, okay, it's time to get up, that kind of thing. So it's time for me to kukuru. What is the word for it again? You guys are going to sit there and have a smirk on your face? Master doesn't even know what he's talking about. Huh? What is that? Yes, one. What's the word?
Thank you, Master.
Crow.
Well,
A rooster crows. Yes, okay.
of course you're not wrong, but the American version of a rooster sound is cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle. Always good to learn. Yes, no tricks. So the reason it happened is because there's plenty of yang qi and possibly light. That's why they cock-a-doodle-doo. What's it again?
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
It's really fun to say. The kids love it. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. Never too late to learn. Oh, and that's why it happened, that the yang qi and possibly light from your recitation. When we practice and we recite the great compassion mantra and practice our hands and eyes, we emit a lot of light. It's very bright when you practice. When you practice the hands and eyes, you emit light. I forgot to tell you to hide it, how to hide it so that wherever you go, you don't disrupt the local spirits and the practitioners. Don't frighten them. Don't draw attention to yourself. Next time I show you how to do it. Next time you travel, show you how to do it. Okay? Oh, cock-a-doodle-doo. Oh, okay. Next.
所以一时一刻也不可以马虎了，要好好去用功。
Therefore, you can't be sloppy for even one moment. You need to work hard.
And you realize that these Dharma Protectors are working hard day and night to keep an eye on you and give you the decent protection. Then you realize you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. And you have to apply yourself, because otherwise you are exhausting your blessings. This is why the people are casual about this. They go about this casually. They don't get a chance to come back because they have no more blessings. It's just like for them to stand on guard for you, and you don't take advantage of it. Then you basically are exhausting your blessings, protection blessings. Be careful. Yes, 8.
So, Master, there's nobody in the Buddha hall until lecture time. So, are we all losing blessings?
No, only when you're sloppy. You come here in the Buddha hall, you're sloppy, and that's when you lose blessings. Even though there's no one here, and there's plenty of protection, there's plenty of beings who are practicing here. Okay, there are plenty of practitioners here. It's not a problem. Continue.
我没有告诉你们吗？在这第一个长期里头，一定要有开悟的人，没有开悟的人，那是不可以。
Didn't I tell you in this first chanchi somebody must become enlightened? If nobody become enlightened, that's not allowed.
Yeah, probably someone is hoping we get to first stage arhat. At 1971, when the people were there, and I doubt they could go to even fourth stage. Continue.
那么这一开始的时候，本来人人到这儿都没有什么话讲，现在呀。
At the beginning, anybody who came here didn't have much to say. 这一天比一天就懈怠起来，一天比一天呢就不守规矩了。 Now you are slacking off more and more day by day and not following rules more and more day by day.
所以，今天晚上对你们各位讲一讲这个因果。你自己不修行，不要障碍其他人修行。
So tonight I will talk about this cause and condition. If you are not cultivating yourself, do not obstruct others from cultivating.
所以你自己不发菩提心，不要令其他的菩提心，其他的人菩提心也断了。
If you yourself are not bringing forth the Bodhi mind, don't let others' Bodhi mind also be interrupted.
这是很要紧的，你们各位都应该注意。是。还有，在这个，在这个。
This is very important. You all should pay attention. Today I will introduce another Dharma master to you. This Dharma master was also Indian. His name was Kalam Yasas. Kalam Yasas is Sanskrit. It translates into time call. There's a question on YouTube.
Okay. Go ahead.
from, excuse me, from Trincao. Apologies. If we received hands and eyes transmission and don't practice every day, are we also losing blessings?
You will receive protection when you practice. You don't practice, then the Dharma Protectors basically say, I don't need to be there. Yes, you're using up some blessings when you don't practice. Next.
这一位法师呢，性情特别刚强，就是很大脾气，恐怕比我脾气更大。
This Dharma master's temperament was extremely strong. He had a very big temper, probably bigger than my temper.
So, ganqiang here in Chinese means it's inflexible. He's very inflexible. And ganqiang is inflexible and tempestuous. Okay, so he is a huge temper. Next.
我要打你们还没打呢，他都先告诉你们，他就先打。
I want to beat you up, but I haven't beaten you up yet. He wouldn't tell you first. He would beat you up first.
我先告诉你们说要打，这是先叫你们守规矩，不守规矩，然后才打。
I tell you that I will beat you up. That is to tell you to obey the rules, and I will beat you up if you don't follow the rules.
Go for his question.
Emitofuo Master, on slide 43, the Venerable Master said that if yourself are not bring forth the body mind, and don't let other body mind also be interrupted. Can you please explain the body mind it is?
So bring forth the body mind. The body is enlightened. Bring forth the body mind is to resolve to become enlightened. Okay. And if you don't want to become enlightened, because it's not that important to you, do not let others who have brought forth the body mind to stop their practice, to stop their quest. And so it's not dharma here is severed, interrupted. No, it means that there are other people who brought forth the body mind. You don't want to make them discouraged so that they give up trying to become enlightened themselves. Just because you don't take becoming enlightened seriously, you should not do anything to discourage others from wishing to become enlightened. That's all he's saying. Okay, and it's Chinese style. It's not that clearly set in Chinese himself. Does it help?
Thank you, Master.
Okay, let's continue.
Then 他倒要是这个脾气不犟，你要犯规矩才去打，所以这一个法。
He probably had this type of temper. If you break the rules, he wouldn't tell you. He would just beat you up.
其实很难和他在一起相处，所以特别刚直。
So it was very difficult to get along with this Dharma master. He was extremely strong and straight.
Extremely inflexible. And inflexible, Chu here, it refers to he's inflexible and non-compromising. Inflexible in what he wants in the rules, non-compromising meaning that he will not compromise with your behavior. Yes, 8.
Master, does 直 mean direct?
Yes, direct here, but it also means straight. So it refers to two sides. Gang is inflexible, meaning he's not going to bend himself. He's gang. It's typical of people who are inexperienced, who are self-centered to be gang. Okay, they're inflexible. And true here is that I interpret that because the Chinese they have these pairs of Chinese characters to describe who they are. So I interpret true here as to not be willing to negotiate with you. He's not going to compromise, uncompromising with you. Yes, 1.
Thank you, Master. Would you be able to talk a little bit about what beating people up in this sense was? Forgive me, like I grew up watching Kung Fu theater, so I have a strong vision in my head of a white-haired master karate chopping somebody or whipping them over the head with a stick. What does beat them up mean?
Beating up is practically beating them up. There are ways to beat the people up. You can beat them up like physically, with a stick, with your fist, with external things. And you can see the physical damage of people being beaten up in terms of wounds and contusions and so forth. But also, there's spiritual side of beating up. And the spiritual side of beating up is that you beat up their spirits. And you cause them to be fearful. When the people are beaten up, there's a physical damage as well as psychological damages. Okay? The damage physically is that, yes, they have wounds and broken things, but actually is accompanied also by the psychological damages, such as the severe case we hear about is PTSD from our soldiers. They come back, they get injured, or they didn't get injured, but they get traumatized. Okay? So the head was injured. So what he's referring to here is for these cultivators, they don't actually physically attack you. The ones who attack you are like the Kung Fu movies and so forth. Those are the Hollywood version of the martial arts practices we have. But actually, all those physical activities are designed to help us develop spiritual skills so that you can beat them up spiritually. So that even though it doesn't show in terms of wounds, so that the lawyers cannot sue us, okay? But you'll be traumatized. you have psychological scars, you will be fearful. Okay, and so that's for you, but also there's other things as well going on. All right, at the human realm, that we don't necessarily need to beat you up physically. We can instill fear in you. And something along the line of PTSD as well. Okay. So this particular guy here who has a huge temper, basically what he does is he would explode, I imagine, and his physical explosion, his losing his temper, will instill a lot of fear in you. Okay, they usually, the physical damage is not as severe as a psychological damage. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. Thank you for making that delineation. I think it's really important because, in my experience as a cultivator, being around people with samadhi power, they can throw punches just across the table during a conversation that are significant. And just having casual conversation, you can encounter a sparring match that will leave you tired and sore.
Yes, that happens. That you're becoming more sensitive to it, sensitized to it. But that's what they do. And that's what these people do. They don't necessarily engage physically, but they engage spiritually. For example, the Chan masters, when they throw things at you, they ask you a question, actually it's a punch. And that's why it's fascinating to see how these masters interact with each other. They don't necessarily move at all. Take the example of the Taoists. They are known, the colorful thing about what they do with each other is they play chess for days on end. Okay, so they sit all day and they play chess, and that's all they do, hours and days, and that's a form of jostling for them as well. Or Master YongHua used to recount when he was younger, he met with this meditator and would sit with them and see who would move first. And after a while, he saw that this guy is in such deep samadhi, he's not going to move. So Master YongHua says, well, it's time for me to yield to him. So he moved himself. See, the mind moves. So there's lots of things going on in our world. That this is why we are more geared towards the invisible side of life, like death and so forth. Because there's a lot more going on than the scientists and people in the world realize.
I really appreciate you talking about it because, I'm encouraged when I see society starting to be more accepting of mental health issues and PTSD issues. And to me, listening to Great Master YongHua describing when this Dharma Master would beat people up, that's really the substance of it to me. It's the unseen punches. It's that kind of jousting that you're describing. That's what's so important to me.
As you practice, you naturally will be exposed to it. And this is what these cultivators, they gauge each other, not by cars, not by temple size, but they see each other and they do jostling. Okay, they came, the Thai monks saw this monk, the old monk here from DTT, and they say, wow, this I can't move this guy. So they basically would not even bother. Okay, they know they can't even mess with him. Don't want to. Okay, and that's typical for our world. For example, I used to take advantage of it. I recounted to you anecdotes where I brought Xian Shun and my people to a Vietnamese vegetarian restaurant. I saw a third dhyana monk sitting there and, dominating his donors, his followers, to instill fear in them. And we walked in there as if he's not even there, okay? And he's pissed off about it. He tried to dominate us as well. Because what happens? We monks go to the restaurant, people will make offerings to us because they're respectful. So some monks overdo it. So they puff up. And they go like this, and everyone, whoa, look at that! I want to make offering this special monk here, which we're not supposed to do. So I let him, and I knew at the time, I remember clearly at the time that Xian Shun already just for a few months of practice with us, and she was about fifth samadhi, and the guy is on the third dhyana. So I said, let him beat up on her. Okay, for her to know, to be exposed to this world here, where actually there is the invisible side, where people actually use their mental strength in order to joust, not physical strength. Okay, and so this is very similar. There's a Dharma master here. He loses his temper. He basically unleashes his anger at you. That's a form of spiritual attack. Invisible attack. So the other guy, same thing. He just said, how dare you? I'm here. You should be more respectful to me and kowtow to me. So since she's unruffled, so I protected everyone else except her to let him beat up on her. And she's the closest. It's perfect for him. Okay? Because so the conditions worked out to my advantage. So they beat up on her and it hurt. And of course, it's just like, even though he cannot really harm her, but actually it hurts. You can feel it. Yeah? And it's because the hurt is actually because of the aggressive intentions. They create blockages in your chi flows. So that's why it hurts. Yes, 8.
It wasn't painful. I wanted to throw up.
Yeah, it just messes up your chi, noble chi flows, and that's your first exposure to the real world. Yeah. It happens. And then after that, I taught her and I explained to her, that's what happens when you walk around, because you better be prepared for it. Because there's some lowlifes like that who walk around trying to impose themselves on others to get their ways. Well, I call them lowlifes. You don't do that. And that's why I expose you to it, ascension to it. And then later, it's not there. Then I send her to the city of 10,000 Buddhas for them to beat up on her as well. Now that hurt. Yes, then it hurts because they're stronger than you. So it serves two purposes. Number one, introduction for her at the restaurant that there's such things in the world where in our world where we go, they will challenge you and they will test you. Okay, and it's harmless because nobody's. They're not going to do anything. When you go to people as raw as Master Hsuan disciples, and they're so stupid that they don't know how to gauge people unless they attack you. Okay? So that I can teach my disciple a lesson, two lessons. Okay? You have a choice. You run away then you'll never be able to deal with it. You stick around, I will teach you how to get up there. And that's what Xian Shun, that's what appealed to Xian Shun. She says, how dare they attack me? Huh? But that's the only way they know to gauge you. And this is what these people do. You go there and they look at you and say, and then if you're scared, then you're weak. It's okay. You're nothing. But if they attack you and nothing happens, they keep on calling each other and they keep on throwing darts at you. That's how it is. That's life. He went to Thailand, the same thing happened to him. He's so strong, there's nothing they could do to him. He's way stronger than them. That's why they could throw darts all they want. It's nothing. So what happened is that for Xian Shun, is basically served my purpose. I know these idiots, they keep on throwing darts at you because they have no idea where you are. All of them. They did it to me, and I chuckled and said, is that all you got? Seriously? You practice for decades, that's all you got? I don't waste my time. So what happened to her is that I used them to beat up on her, and then she came back and said, you see, it hurts, right? I said, oh yeah, it hurts. Compared to that Vietnamese monk, it hurts a lot more. And I said, well, either you run away and say, oh, you people are just ugly, okay? Or you stick around, I teach you, so that someday you look at them and say, is that all you got? And when you got there, then you remember never to do to anyone else, because only low lives would do that, not worthy of your stature. Yes, go for us.
Emitofuo Master. I think it's not only the externalists, they sometimes they attach in other just for test out, but also I think the spirits also doing that as well, especially when we go to a new place, which they already there, and then we comment something, it may happen to us as well. I recall there was one time one of my so-called my friend, he bought a very nice piece of land, and then he bring a lot of statue there. He brought about 16 Arhat statue, the Buddha disciple statue, and then he followed the externalists, so that they have some kind of other they call Mao, and then the other person is on a higher place, and the Arhats is down below. So there was one day me and he invited me and another monk from CTTP came over and visit his place, and then we went up to the hill and we looked at this, and then it looks kind of strange to me that we have Arhat, and then on the low level, and then high above that he called Phật Mẫu. And then the monk from CTTV comments that it's all wrong, you cannot do something like that. They're going to have a lot of bad karma and all that. And then he explained things. But then not too long after that, he got really, really bad headache.
The monk, the CTTV monk.
Really bad headache. And then we visit a little bit and we left. Then I think the spirit also do that to people as well.
Yeah, if you go to a non-Buddhist temple, especially those Taoist practitioners, they attack you. They have statues of Guan Yin, but they attack you regardless. And that's why you don't want to go to places like that. The headaches is because the guy has no samadhi power. That's why the spirits can break through and cause problems. And that's just teach you a lesson. You don't go to places. We avoid places that are not friendly because it causes problems for those protectors. They are attacking us. It's not good for them. They're creating serious offenses. And that's why now Xian is higher than all of them. These stupid people. They only serve for purpose because they're stupid. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. We have 2 YouTube questions. Question number 1 from Cordelia Lee. Master, I don't know what samadhi level I have, but I'm terrified hurting others, so when I talk to others, I try not to think. Is this the correct thing to do? Emitofuo.
Hurting others starts with your intention to hurt others. You bring forth your desire to punish someone, to attack someone. That's how it starts, which is anti-cultivation. We don't do that. We don't attack others. We don't intend to hurt others. Yes, every now and then we lose our temper and say, how could you do that to me? See? It scares people. Okay? And sometimes it's not intentional, and we back down. We realize that we're not supposed to lose our temper because it hurts people. But for a cultivator whose practices is all full-time as a profession, and to go around that list down master is like imposing his will on others, to me, such people are what I call low-lives of Mahayana, low-lives of our Sangha. And I don't take them very seriously. They're a bunch of idiots. It's only because they don't understand the cultivation. They don't have any wisdom. That's why they do stupid things like that. And I'm disappointed that I'm sure it happened already when Master YongHua was alive. They don't become that way only after 30 years. They've been doing it to me. Every single time I went to those way places, they test me constantly. Whether it's Taoist, whether it's Hinayana, a Hinayana practitioner tested me, Taoist practitioner tested me, Master YongHua tested me, all of them threw darts at me. So it's nothing new. That's why those places I don't go anymore because I know they're creating offenses. It's not good for them. I don't go there because I'm afraid of them. I don't go there because I don't want to hurt them. Give them a chance to hurt themselves. I don't go to places because such places like Taoist places or even like Master YongHua disciples, because they're stupid. They're going to try to test me by throwing darts at me and throwing darts at our people. I said, well, you guys can go for fun, but for us, we don't go anymore because I know they're creating offenses. Too stupid. And I'm disappointed. I'm bringing it out because I'm disappointed with my own master because he didn't teach them properly. You don't do that. It gives a bad name to your Dharma. It's not okay. It's not okay to attack people. We do this to open our wisdom, not to attack others, to get our way. How ugly, how despicable is that? Who do you think you are? We are nobody. Don't ever forget that. We're beggars. We're not supposed to impose our wills on others. The Buddha says, I'm teaching you to be professional beggars. We don't have to win. It's perfectly okay to lose. to be losers. That's what we're supposed to be. How stupid can you be? We're here so that you can win. Not us. We don't have to win. We don't need to have big temples. We don't need to have fame. We don't need to have disciples. Since when Buddha's disciples need temples, need money, need fame? And yet, this is all now the monks and nuns are shooting for. They want a degree, PhD from a bunch of idiots who certify them they're worthy to receive a PhD, okay? Meaning they're just as stupid, all these people who don't understand Buddhism at all. They understand words, they don't understand Buddhism. And then they have no kung fu whatsoever. You know, I was at Master Shehua's temples, and I have some of their disciples went for PhDs or professors and so forth. They came to our temples. They're walking around with their tail between their legs because we beat upon them. And so you're a hot shot, huh? You have hundreds of students in your class, right? I will instill the fear of God in you today. That's what they do to each other. It's so stupid. That's creating offenses. And Master Shehuа did not teach them properly. They should know better. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. One more YouTube question, then I have a short story from my experience at Blue Mountain I want to share. YouTube question from Brady McBride. Isn't this a show of one's inflated ego, some affliction going rampant?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why it's contrary to our spiritual credos. We do things to reduce our ego, not make it stronger, not to impose ourselves on others. Yeah? What's your story?
Thank you, Master. I think it was about 6 months after I first started coming to Blue Mountain Temple, and I was volunteering at a relic show. And, you know, Blue Mountain Temple was a smaller temple. When people stood close together, you know, you could get a crowd. You were kind of rubbing shoulders at a certain point. It was, you know, pretty close proximity. And there was a visiting nun who I remember, I'm 6'3", so to me, most people were pretty short, but she was really short. And I think she was wearing like gray robes, and I remember navy blue for some reason. But everybody was like ignoring her, and you know, I was a concierge at one point, so I'm kind of customer service oriented. And silly me, I went up to her and just asked her, like, just said hello. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said something like, "I want to talk to Master now." And I remember feeling like a sharp sensation right between my eyes, like right here, and I was startled because this very small person was being very mean very suddenly in a temple of all places, and she was a nun. And so I remember, like, you know, what do I do? Oh my gosh, I'm like kind of like disoriented. So I like stumbled towards the library where I thought I could find somebody. And I remember Venerable XX was there, and I'm like, "Venerable, there's this nun, and she really wants to talk to Master." and Venerable XX just looked at me, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, just ignore her." That was all the instruction I got. So, again, I just want to make a plug for anyone who's looking to learn how to spar. Supporting and volunteering at the relics exhibitions is a wonderful place because all sorts of weirdos show up and you have to learn how to deal with them.
We use us to help train you, help motivate you to become stronger. Okay? You become stronger because you have desire to become stronger, and you have the motivation to become stronger. Don't just become better, just just for the heck of it. We need to have the drive. It happens, unfortunately, in our environment, and that's a good thing. We use it because that's what these people are ill-trained. The teacher never taught them properly, and we use them in order to teach you the proper value systems.
And now listening to your most recent instruction, to me it's like such a prime example of someone imposing their will on others. And I'm so grateful for your instruction that you will not tolerate us doing that, because having experienced it, woof, it's not cool, man.
Yeah, it leaves an unpleasant aftertaste, and you for me, I'm not concerned about the long-term consequences, because the people who are doing that are really not worthy cultivators. They're not going to go very far. And that's my primary concern. I want you to go as far as possible. Don't get bogged down like these losers. Okay? So we use losers to motivate yourself to rise above the pack. There are enough losers out there. Okay? Because they have the wrong foundation. That's why they cannot go very far. Yes, 8.
So, Master, when I came to Buddhism, I read Master YongHua's books and stuff, and I wanted to go visit because it seems so honorable. But when I went there and they attacked me, I couldn't get back up on my foot. I fell, basically.
Yeah.
In a way, aren't they destroying Buddhism?
That's Master YongHua's problems and not my problem. Okay? The last time I was there, they're just sitting there and watching me and so forth from a distance, because they knew about me already. But before that, these people, they're too raw. They don't understand. They don't have the wisdom. That's why they have to attack you to find out who's stronger. That's all they know. They're all doing that. That's how stupid they all are. The monks do it to nuns, nuns do it to monks, and so forth. That's how they have a pecking order. So eventually he's the strongest, therefore that's hands off, that kind of thing. They know among each other. For me, I look at you're too low. Why are you doing all these things? So once they, the best kung fu fighters they have there, both of them teamed up against me. So I said, show me what you got. And they backed off immediately. And I never came back. Never went there again, because you're not worthy of me going to your temple. Because just like him, I bring my Dharma Protectors too, wherever I go. So I go there, and they get clashed with all these stupid Dharma Protectors. Don't do it. That's all. I'm just disappointed my master never corrected them. Because it starts right then at third dhyana. Remember that Vietnamese monk? His master never corrected him and said, don't you dare, you idiot. If you keep doing this, you'll never progress. If you keep doing that, I will not teach you. You're not worthy. Our Dharma for all of you is that we yield and yield and yield and yield. Never stop yielding. You hear that, Xian Shun? We yield today. yield more tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, yield more and more and more. That's my master's Dharma. I don't know how it got interpreted into it's okay to test others. You're creating offenses when you test others. We don't test. We wait for you to test me. That's how I know you immediately. These idiots keep on coming to test me and say, geez, when are you going to learn? Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. We have a YouTube question from Null1596. Is this the second American patriarch's problem or Master Shenhua's?
That's Master Shenhua's problems. I don't fault the second patriarch because he's not smart enough, wise enough. Master Shenhua should have seen it. And it started with him spelling out his three guidelines and the 6 principles, and he did not enforce them. That's one of his weaknesses. I feel that he did not provide the proper leadership for his disciples. That's why they're not good leaders. They never learn how to be good leaders. And I don't blame right now because I feel that it's from the failure from Master Shenhua to enforce the rules. Because when you teach someone something, you also are responsible for correcting them when they violate those rules. Yes? The teaching is simply not just, hey, this is the house rules, but it also includes enforcements of the house rules. That's how you improve. That's how you get the chance to stay, to stick around. He never enforced them. That's why I fault him. It's not the second patriarch. I don't care what the second patriarch does, but it goes back way to everyone. It's the same thing. No one thinks much of him anyway. It's Master Shenhua's fault. His training is lacking there. And maybe that's helped me in a sense that I'm not afraid to lose you. If you don't like what I'm teaching, take a hike, go learn somewhere else. Maybe he could not afford to do that. For us, we're not patriarchs. What do we care? We do, whatever you feel is the right thing to do. You don't have to prove anything. Yes, one.
We're getting activity. Thank you, Master. We're getting
no
on YouTube.
YouTube wakes up when we have controversies.
The principle of cause and effect on YouTube is for real. From WMT Apple, Master, thank you for correcting us and training us how to behave from early on. Emitofuo.
It's only I'm doing it only because I know that you can get very far if you stop making these mistakes that I saw in Master Shenhua disciples and in Master Shenhua for failing to enforce them. That's all. I'm benefiting from my masters. That's why I'm still grateful to him. Yes.
Thank you, Master. This is from Leo. You may have answered his question already, but I'll ask just in case. So did Master Shenhua know about his disciples' bad behavior?
Of course. He knows everything. That's why I don't get why he did not teach them. He did not scold them. Yeah. If you wait until it blows up in their face, then they don't have the punishment is more severe. But if you nip it at the butts, then they can go much further. What happened to these people when he corrected them? He punished them, a lot of them publicly. Okay, Heng Chang and all those people, they made mistakes. Even Heng Shu, they made mistakes. So he chastised them publicly. But that's, to me, is waiting for too long. Yeah, and then I prefer to mold them a lot quicker so that they can rise higher. They don't, these bad habits don't get baked into their foundation. Yes, 8.
Master, I'm not necessarily angry at them. I didn't know what was going on, and I was hurt. I recovered, but it was a turnoff.
Yes.
And the main thing was...
That's why I wanted you to remember how turned off you are. So don't you dare do it to others.
The main thing was it was invisible. That was what it was hard to understand, because it was invisible. It was not direct. Like if someone comes up to me and they're angry, they're yelling at me, I know they're angry.
Let me tell you a personal experience. I was practicing on my own, very low level, okay? And one day I was decided to go visit my late father, who is still alive, paid him a visit. So I went to a grocery store to buy some pineapple cakes. He likes pineapple cakes. So I bought the pineapple cakes for him and stood in line. And at the time, I was in the form realm samadhis. Yeah? And I was standing in line and waiting to pay for the pineapple cakes. And someone behind me offered to pay it for me. And she said, in Vietnamese, said, "Let me pay for him." So I said, "What?" See, at the time, I had a very low opinion for myself, a parasite, okay, who has no future, okay, who doesn't know what he's doing. It's probably will end up failing sometimes, soon, okay. So very low opinion of myself. So for me, and poor on top of it, and for me to stand there and all of a sudden have someone offering to pay something for me, I was shocked. I said, "What happened?" I look back, and there's an old woman who looked at me, and because even though my samadhi level is low, but I was practicing all day. So every day is concentration at the dhyana level. For me to point it at her, which is slightly a bit lower than mine at the time, it frightened her. It frightened the heck out of her. It's just like, boom! Because I was minding my business. You know, when you meditate all day, like in a Chan Chi here, you store all this chi he built up in your chi here, and you don't know what to do with it. That's what I was doing. And then when I said, "Say what?" And I went like that. And that woman was frightened out of her wits. It's a Buddhist disciple from the Master Shenhuas who recognized me. Said, "I'm supposed to offer to Master Shenhua's disciples." She paid for it. And I said, "What?" It frightened her. So that's why Bodhisattva came to me and he said, "Listen, don't ever do it again, you hear?" I was taught. I remember that. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for such lessons. That's what I'm doing to you. I'm passing on, the gift so that you avoid making, mistakes like that. Because it's a turn off for people. They're well-intentioned. And you look bad. You make your teacher look bad. That's why I'm telling myself, my behavior made Master Shenhua look bad. So I never wanted to do it again, ever. You can do it to me, I will not do it to you. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. We have a YouTube question from Cordelia Lee. Emitofuo Master, is there a way to put up a shield when others attack us?
Let them. Don't be afraid. Let me tell you, life is not about not getting attacked and being immune to attacks. Life is we roll with the punches. That's our style, is that we are fearless. Okay, we recover. Don't be afraid to get hurt. There's nothing to be afraid of. They hurt us, we'll recover. We recover quicker than they can. And we cannot recover quickly enough, then it motivates us to learn to recover quicker. That's all. That's what happened to Xinshen. Yeah. And now it took a while, but now she can go there and they say, is that all you got? But then we don't do it anymore because we know that we do it on purpose. We know that we are giving these people the chance to create offenses. So we know that's the case. We avoid it because we want to help them, not because we're afraid of them. That's why. What was that Chan Fong's monk they're doing with that place? You go to a place where whatever they do. What are you doing? Opening your mouth and criticizing them? How stupid can you be? Who do you think you are? This is their temple. It's their land. They can do whatever they want. It's none of our business. Shut up. You don't like it, don't go there. Don't have to show yourself, this is wrong, this is wrong. This is not what we Buddhists do. They're not Buddhists, you idiot. They do whatever they do. It's okay. What about, this is what I want you to understand. We embrace them. Yeah, I'm not afraid of them. I embrace those idiots as well. Yeah, let them be. It's okay. I'm teaching you in order to help you understand that Master Shenhua is not like that, and he's not perfect. Yeah? He failed his disciples in that sense. He never corrected them. We are students because we need to be taught. We all make mistakes. There's no need to worry that we can't recover, you're going to get hurt. Let them hurt us. Have no fear. We recover and we get stronger. Yes, go forth.
Emitofuo Master. Sorry, I got a question. So from one of the videos that we saw from Master Xuanhua, so the way that it seems like the way that he treated his disciples is that, so he gave instructions. If the disciple doesn't follow, then he said that I'll wait for them to turn around. So what is the right way to teach the disciples? That it looks like different attitudes towards people who don't follow, the disciples who don't follow the directions.
I don't know which disciples you're referring to and exactly that situation, but I'm from a different perspective where I assume responsibility for my disciples' mistakes. Because if my disciples make a mistake, it's because I didn't teach them properly. And that's number one. Number two, if I teach them and they continue to make mistakes, then it frees me from having to teach them anymore. So I don't waste time anymore. They're free. I don't force them to do it my way. But if they continue to go and sneakily, I tell people don't use the hand and eyes. They sneak around, they use it and for their own things, then they will find out it's to their detriment. I taught them already. They can't blame me for the trouble they get into later. Okay? So that's why the style is different. If I did like Master YongHua and my disciples make mistakes, like Xian Chun, he goes around and says, Master, will you teach me to be stronger so that I get back at them? I say, yeah, sure, I teach you. But don't get back at them. That's how you get there a lot faster. Yes, it motivates you to get better, but not to get even. If you get better in order to get even, your progress will be slower. And that's my primary concern. I want you to get up there quicker than them so that you can surpass them. That's why the style is different. It's up to you. You want to do it their way, it works too. Eventually in 20, 40, 50 years, you get to their level. But then you cannot blame me for not giving you the option. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. We have a YouTube comment from Plato Shi. Thank you, Master, for yesterday's lecture. Now I don't worry that I left my previous master. Now I'm glad to be one of your disciples.
Okay, just get better. Being my disciple is useless unless you continue to get better and better and better. That's my hope for all of you. Okay? You have... I saw a lot of great teachers from China, from Vietnam, from Japan, from Korea, and so forth. And some of them are very good, and you follow them, you'll be very fine. Like you follow, for example, the one that we've been talking about, we're learning from Master YongHua. You learn my generation, we learned from him. And basically, your generation and future generations can also learn from him. Because it's all these Dharma talks, all these sutra lectures and so forth, they're priceless. Learn from them. But you no longer have the personal coaching anymore. Okay? And that's what's lacking. Because I feel that it's not complete yet. You have all these wonderful teachings, profound teachings, but they could be improved a little bit, and so that you can surpass my generation of the people he trained. That's my interest. Don't get me wrong, he's a much better teacher than I am. Okay? But my students will be better than his students because I will train them differently. That's all. Don't ever be under any delusion that I'm a better teacher, I have more wisdom than my master. No, I don't. Let's get this straight. Okay? But my students will be better than his students. That's all. All right, time is up. Thank you, everyone.